What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the No Hope Podcast, where we want the world to know that there is hope. This is my beautiful wife, Katie Faye.
Yes, we'd like to welcome you to episode 8. So we are so happy, so delighted that you are here. And so we're going to get into it.
Yeah. How was your Christmas?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was really just chill and relaxed. We were going to go down to Florida to see Johnny's family, but we decided we're going to stay up here in Colorado. So it was my parents, Johnny, Jude, myself, and it was just chill.
Mm-hmm.
And it was lovely. And it was good. How was your Christmas?
It was good. I definitely missed our family in Florida.
Absolutely.
Because I was just like, oh, I want to be at my great grandmother's right now.
Yeah.
But it was chill compared to, how our Christmases normally are.
Yeah, it's like the rush to the airport, bringing all the presents, staying in different places, all of it, which we love that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we're here for it all.
But so we hope you guys had a great Christmas.
Yep.
And normally what we do on the podcast is we'll pick out a couple different topics and then just have a great conversation with each other.
Yep.
We like to start it off with a little rock, paper, scissors, Rochambeau action.
Yeah.
And
Wait, before we do that, did you want to show them what you got for Christmas?
oh, yeah, I did actually.
You did.
So this is probably the favorite thing that I got for Christmas. And this is a Smith & Wesson M&P. And what's cool about it is you can just fold it up just like that. How cool is that?
So where we used to live in Florida, we lived on an old hunting camp. And so we had all kinds of land to do all kinds of shooting.
Close to 1,000 acres.
Yeah, and we just really enjoy it. We like practicing a lot of gun safety, but we're here to shoot some guns because look at this bad boy too.
Yeah, I was going to say, what'd you get?
This little Ruger 9mm. She's so cute. Look at her. So I'm really excited. There's a gun range out here that we're going to be going to.
Yep.
And so that'll be a lot of fun.
And also, too, when we go to Florida, I have a lot of friends that have property, but one of my buddies, Billy, he's got some awesome property where he shoots guns out there all the time. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So much fun.
Okay. So rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
And the winner goes first.
Yep.
Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, nice.
You went first last time, too.
I know. What we'll have to do is go through and see,
who won.
Yeah,
because we'd be...
It's probably pretty close, but we'll see. Okay, so first thing that I wanted to talk about is really how our mindset determines the life that we live and that we create. And I know we hear stuff on it all the time, but our mindset is so powerful and it's very difficult, especially the older you get, because you have those neural pathways that, for so many years, you've kind of built these pathways that you're so used to going down. And when I first decided, I said, you know what, I'm going to become the best version of myself. And that will be your entire life. You're constantly, learning and becoming a better version every single day. But man, it was challenging for me to break a lot of the beliefs that I had. And until I really started to kind of become aware of these negative thought patterns, I realized, man, this is so challenging. So I'm curious for you if you kind of had that same experience where when you first started to consciously say, hey, I'm gonna work on my mindset, if you had, those hurdles kind of, or maybe just experiencing like, dang, man, I think way too negative.
Oh, absolutely. You can catch yourself in a cycle or a pattern constantly. And because they say, it could not be true, but that we're pretty hardwired by the time we're 36 and our thoughts and our patterns, and that we're thinking about, 70 to 80% the same thoughts every single day. And I heard that and I was like, whoa. And then I think back on my weeks, my days, I was like, man, yeah, I was thinking about the same thing over and over. So just like you said, when you discover and you want to become your best self, that it's evolving, that it's always growing, that it's always something that, you're striving towards each and every day, because you can have those really terrible days, but it's up to you to get back into the state of good, to that state, that highest vibrational state you can as quickly as possible. Yeah. Because if you kind of, you have a day and then you have another day, you can slip really quickly.
Yeah.
So really catching yourself and taking every thought captive, I think that's huge for me, because when I was younger, I struggled a lot. I struggled with worry, depression, fear, all of these things, and it caught me in a really bad mental pattern for a really, really long time, until finally there was this time when I'm always going to talk about solitude, because I think it's one of the most beautiful places that we can be, is in a state of solitude, nobody else but you and your creator. That's when you really begin to change, that your mindset really begins to fine tune. And so I think that was an aha moment for me, was really taking time with God, and then learning to take each thought, captive, and making it align with Christ and his will for my life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, one of the things that I wanted to share was this experience that I had. And I had been, you know, clean and sober for, I don't know, over a year, doing a morning routine every single day and working a lot, right? Early in the morning, I would leave labor-intensive job, work 10 hours a day minimum, get home, have dinner, go to sleep, wake up, do it again. And I remember I was listening to Ed Mylett, and I felt like it was almost like this breaking point. Like, I'm like, dude, I am trying so hard to change my life and look for opportunities, and I just feel like I wasn't getting anywhere. But what I realized is when you start feeling that, you are right on the cusp of a door being able to open for you, which is incredible. And so when you feel like, you know, what's the point? I've been doing this for, you know, so many months, so many years. The reason why people say never quit is because right there when you're at your weakest maybe, and you're like, you know, it's all pointless. It's nothing's changing. You got to dig in even harder and keep going. And I remember, because after I had that, I was listening to Ed Mylett, and I was just like, I was at that point where I was like, dude, I have been trying so hard for months and months and months to, you know, for whatever it is. But I realized that it's like we're training. So every day we wake up, we do our morning routine. We want to be 1% better, but we're actually training and getting prepared for when those opportunities come. Because shortly after I had that experience, I had an opportunity open itself up to me, and I was ready. I was prepared, right? I was in shape. I was training every day. And this opportunity allowed me to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine if I would have quit, right? And just said, whatever, nothing's going to change. But I didn't. I kept going. So I'm super grateful for that opportunity. It stuck with me, that experience, because I remind myself of that. Like, man, what if you would have quit, right? What if you would have just given up? You would have never had that opportunity. And so that's something that I was talking to Katie about, is it's like we're training and preparing ourselves for opportunities so that when they present itself, you're ready. You're like, I am ready to rock this out. And yeah, so just keep going. Don't quit.
I really, really love that, because that makes the mundane days, you know, full of life, because it's not just like you're doing your daily routine or doing this or doing that. You're like, no, I'm preparing for something. Maybe I don't know exactly what I'm preparing myself for, but I know that if I listen to my mind and I do the things that I say that I'm going to do that are in a positive trajectory towards my life, then I'm preparing for something good. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that when I'm like, I don't want to. But it's going to be like, dude, you're preparing for something. Something is coming your way, and you want to be ready for it. That's really beautiful and very powerful.
Yeah, that is a good mindset to have. Like you said, when you're mundane days, you got to remind yourself, dude, you want to be prepped and ready for this opportunity. You don't know when the door is going to open for you or what it's going to be, but every day you're training so that you're prepared when that opportunity comes. You're ready. Like I saw this guy, I can't remember what his name is, but on TikTok, he's like, what is your dream? And he asked people what their dream is, right? Well, he has like 9 million followers. And so he's had these people where he said, what is your dream? And this one lady said, oh, I want to be a singer. And he said, really? He's like, sing something for us. And she couldn't do it, right? Imagine if she would have taken advantage of that opportunity, because she sings every day in the shower. She sings every single day, and she would have done it.
Yeah, because
What
isn't it like if you do something for 15 minutes every single day, you're better than like 90% of the population.
Yeah.
And that's 15 minutes out of your day doing something that's gonna better you,
Yeah.
add more value to you. And I think right now in this like scrolling era, like I've in this age of technology and information, I found myself being like, dude, Katie, what are you doing just scrolling on here? Why if I were to be watching a movie and I'm watching the main character and all they're doing is scrolling on TikTok, I'd be bored as hell. And so I
Mm.
think about that when I'm kind of in like those stuck moments. I'm like, dude, you gotta do something right now
Yeah.
because you are boring your angels. You are boring your spiritual team who is watching you right
Yeah.
now. You may be getting a lot of information, but what information are you really digesting and
Mm.
utilizing in your life, right?
Man, that is a good perspective to have, is like, because our life in a way is a movie. Like, who knows, is after, we die and go to heaven or whatever, we can rewatch, right? Different things or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's so many things that we would have wished we would have done, but
Oh gosh. Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
instead, say from here on out,
Yeah.
I'm going to go all in. I'm going to give it a shot. Even if I'm scared, if I'm nervous, I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
But that's a good perspective to have.
Yeah.
If you're the star of the movie and then you're sitting there and you're just scrolling, and it's like, dude, there are people that are hustling, making their dream happen, and you're just scrolling.
Yeah. And I think that's a really fun way to live too. Just like one thing would be, what was your point that you made? Oh, each day you're preparing for something and then living like you are the main character of your life.
Yeah.
And this life, it's all a show. And so it makes those days when you're not really have something on the calendar, have something planned, it makes those days super fun. Johnny and I used to, when we would like go out and there'd be music in the grocery store, we'd be like, all right, we're in a movie. And then we'd be like, and it just it changes your energy and your mindset and your perspective, and it makes everything just a little bit more fun.
And that's something too that's really powerful, is our perspective and what we focus on, right?
Yeah.
So like if you switch your perspective, like, hey, I'm the main character in this movie, then what would you do?
Yeah, what would you be doing? Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I think that's a powerful way to live because sometimes life can just be a little boring, but it's up to you if you want to change it up, and it's in your mind
Yeah.
to have the ability to change it. Okay, so let's hop over to my question here. I love these questions today because not only do I want us to answer them, but I really want whoever is listening to really delve into these questions as well, because I think it'd be really powerful. We're wrapping up 2024 and going into 2025. So asking ourselves strategic questions really to get to know ourselves, I think is very important.
Absolutely.
So the first question is, what story are you telling yourself and how can you rewrite it for growth? So what story are you telling yourself and how can you rewrite it for your growth? We're just talking about how we replay the same scenarios over and over and over in our mind. So you see that story, and what story do you want to tell yourself so that you can grow? And I think that Johnny has a really cool perspective on this, because being somebody who struggled with an addiction, you could really wreck yourself telling yourself that same story over and over and over again. How did you have the power to rewrite that story so you could grow?
I really think that it comes down to our perspective and then what we focus on, because there's so many things we do unconsciously. So for a long time, I was telling myself a certain story and I didn't realize I was telling myself that story until I consciously was zoning in or aware of like, yeah, wait, what story am I telling myself? And man, I was, how I'll never be able to get sober. I'm, an inconvenience to everybody, all these different things. And when I got clean and sober, I realized the power of telling yourself a different story. And so now one of the things I tend to do is become my biggest fan, right? Like my biggest hype fan, like, Johnny, you've got this. You've been through things that are way more difficult than what you're facing right now. And also to envision that successful version of myself, right? That's making, millions of dollars, but also impacting other people, right? I want to give back. So Katie and I are the same. We want to be able to go all over the world, experience different cultures, but really give back. Like we're really passionate about helping other people that are less fortunate.
Yep.
And I feel like it's part of our purpose that God, has called us to do, is to really help those that are struggling where we once were. But the story that I tell myself now is a story of victory and of an overcomer, which
I love that, like being your biggest fan and really believing in yourself.
Mhm.
There was many times in my life where I feel like I missed opportunity because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have that really great foundation of believing in myself. And that's not due to anyone but my own heart. You know what I mean? And I think it's so important. Johnny has always told me that, to be my biggest fan, which really was hard for me for a really long time. Like, what? Like, you look in the mirror and you're telling yourself you believe in yourself and you love yourself and all of these things. I think that we are coming out of an era of that, like, self-hate kind of, you know what I mean? Which is very unfortunate. But a lot of people, I feel like in programming, were taught not to like themselves. That if they liked themselves, that they were arrogant. And I think that's really false. And we have to start believing and knowing that, like, we are children of God.
Yeah.
We were created so uniquely and so special with like little gifts to spread and share with the world. And I think that's so beautiful. And you know what? I thank God every single day how you changed your mindset and you changed who you thought you were to knowing who God created you to be, because it's changed our life in such a powerful way. So if somebody out there is dealing with addiction and they're saying they're always going to be the problem, they're always going to be this and always going to be that, remember, you're the one that's telling yourself that. So begin changing that story so you can really begin to grow and become all that God created you to be. And that's what we're about at No Ideas. People becoming and doing what God created them to be and do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is what No Idea is all about, is
All
helping
about
people know the idea of their life. We all have a purpose. We all have passions. And the richest life is a life lived with authenticity, right? It's the highest vibrating frequency, even above love, which is pretty powerful. My wife taught me that. But yeah, how powerful is that? And so, we want people to know the idea of their life. And it's so important that you have a plan, that you have a vision, that you have your goals. But I think it all starts right here.
Absolutely.
In our mindset.
Absolutely. All right, getting to question number 2.
Yeah, so the other one that I wanted to talk about, and Katie, this is like one of the things that you love, is neural pathways and habit formation, and how when you think a certain way repeatedly, your brain, strengthens the neural pathways associated with those thoughts, making them like automatic. And how replacing old pathways with new, healthier ones requires that consistent effort over time. What do you think is the best, or maybe a couple different suggestions on how to be aware of the negative thoughts that you have and then to replace them with healthier ones?
Oh, that's so good and so powerful. And I think about, there's the cutest little TikTok video, and it shows the neural pathways being built by this like little guy in our brain.
Cool.
And it's so cool. I wonder if I could find it and I'll post it. But I think that once we begin to be gentle with ourselves and our mindset, that we can start to change and be like, oh, I don't want to think that way. I want to think this way. And if we can imagine, I tell this to Jude, that there's 2 different islands. And each time we think either a negative or positive thought, we're either building the bridge to the positive island or a bridge to the negative island. And it's up to us, truly. We get to go, oh shoot, I'm building that island, but I want to build this island. I want to go this way. And I'm not sure how many days it takes. We would have to look it up, but to build those new thought patterns. And I think a huge thing, because our minds are naturally just in survival. They're like, we're here to survive.
Yeah.
And we're going to do whatever it takes, the easiest way to get there. They talk about this in biohacking, that when you start to biohack your mind, you want to do the easiest thing for your body. And so when we start to develop these daily habits, make it easy on yourself. Make it easy to get up in the morning, have your water, put your lemon in, put your salt in, drink it. Like, make all these healthy things easy and fun for you to do. So I think easy and fun to develop new habits, make it super simple, and be really gentle on yourself. Be very, very kind to yourself. There's been this like really hard,
Rigid.
tough, rigid, you gotta do this kind of mindset. And I hate it. I'm like, bro, chill out.
Yeah.
Can you just be nice? Like when Jude is mean to himself when he doesn't get something right away, I'm like, dude, would you be mean to me like that? Would you be mean to your future brother or sister like that? No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Yeah, I think
that's the question.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. And also too, one of the things that I think really helped me was in my morning routine, I have different things that I want to focus on that day. And one of them is my thoughts. So just to be consciously aware of what am I thinking? And at first, you just go about your day and you forget you're focusing on your thoughts. But if you do that for a week, if you do that for 2 weeks, then all of a sudden you have these new neural pathways that are actually helping you be consciously aware of what you're thinking about in the moment. And then you can really start catching yourself and be like, that's a false belief. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Then you start to replace it with positive ones. Next thing you know, 2-3 months down the road, your world is completely different. You know, I saw a thing and it says that if you spend 12 minutes a day praying for like 2 or 3 months, that it will radically change your life.
Yeah, and it's scientifically proven. Like they tested somebody's brain on it, and it's proven to change your life. Prayer changes you. Sometimes it doesn't always change the circumstance, but it fully changes you. And that's even more powerful.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to hop into my second question.
Let's do it.
So here's another question that I want listeners to be thinking about as well as we step into this new year. What would your most authentic self do if fear wasn't holding you back? And I think this is so good for everyone to think about. And I think that Johnny and I are really stepping in to what we believe and what we want our most authentic self to experience in this lifetime. We created No Idea back in 2009, okay? And we have been through the ringer. We've had amazing times, super tough times. And we said, you know what? We're just going to go after this one more time and experience it. And it's hard when you have family around and they're like, oh, we don't understand, or what is that? It's hard to continue to press in and move forward, and you have all of this fear. But I'm telling you, if you have something that's in your heart and it just won't go away, just go for it. Just take those little steps and don't let anybody else's reaction be dependent on if you're going to keep going or not.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Absolutely. And I can't remember who it was that had a video that talked about, like, Thomas Edison had like over 1,200 or 1,300 patents, and he's only known for the light bulb. And then you have like all of these really successful people, and then it shows like how many times they did something, and they were only successful like 3% of the time. So they were okay with failing, and then they had that one season breakthrough invention that made it happen for them. And so that's why I think it's so powerful, is don't quit. No matter how many times you go after something, if you believe in it, you're probably going to fail a lot trying to make it happen. But it's your vision that God has given you. And guess what? If you continue to go for it and you look back a decade down the road and you're like, man, we did it, right? And then everybody
and we're
starts.
so happy. You're so happy you
Yeah.
went for it, because
No
you're going to be
regret.
super bummed if
Yeah.
you didn't just go all in and go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I would have done that for the
Yeah.
last 10 years?
Yeah.
But also what's going to happen is that you're going to become successful and other people are going to see it. You're probably going to get a lot of support from people that you don't even know. And then everybody's going to be like, great job. And, but that's just how it is. If you look throughout history, that's what happens to everybody that is going after a dream and a vision.
Yeah.
So if nobody believes in you, but you believe in it, go after it, man.
That's super, super powerful.
Yeah.
Because you could even have everyone else believing in you and you don't believe in yourself.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not going to work.
Yep.
You have to have that deep planted seed of belief in your heart that you
Mhm.
can do it.
Yeah.
Super powerful. I have to remind myself of that too.
Is it your turn?
Last question for you, big dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I always love to share with little man is I always tell him, whatever you feed grows.
Mm.
And so when I stepped into sobriety, that's one of the things that I constantly thought about is I had been feeding my flesh
Mm-hmm.
for so many years, right? That when I went to feed my spirit, it was way weaker than my flesh and those desires. And so I had to just continue to feed my spirit. So I believe if you feed something that's eternal, that it's the best way to go. And so I wanted to kind of share that, like, man, whatever you feed grows, right?
Mm.
So just kind of focus on that. Perspective is powerful, and never quitting. But what are you feeding, right? And so
I think that's so good because that really, I think it enables purpose when we start to feed our soul. I look back on my life in my early 20s and I was done, performing pretty early. And I found that I was kind of in, not necessarily lost, but in this seeking kind of place. And once I really started to go within and I really started to immerse myself in the Word of God and immerse myself just in my thoughts and my time and meditation and everything, it brought me this beautiful purpose and fulfillment. And I'd read the Word of God and I'd be like, oh, this is where my fulfillment is. This is what people talk about when they think about purpose and they think about truly filling their spirit. Because if we begin to fill our spirit, which is outside of our body, our soul is outside of our body and our spirit. Once we begin to funnel in and fill that, we become alive. We become filled with light and beauty and excitement for life. And we're like, okay, we're just passing through here. So we better enjoy ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself that this day, because I'm not perfect, there are days where I'm like, oh my God. But when I get into that mode of that deep knowing, that deep-seated purpose in my heart, it gives me so much fulfillment. So wherever you are, whoever you are, you need to seek your creator, your individual creator, because he desires a deep relationship with you. And that's truly where I believe our fulfillment comes from.
Absolutely.
And feeding that spirit, it just puts you in a happy place.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing that I just thought about is if you're married, do this with your husband or wife. If you're not, do it anyways. But if you do a morning routine, right, there's like a lot of different morning routines that you can do, but one of them is, visualize, exercise, write down your goals for the day, all these different things. But if you kind of find a morning routine that you can do and you consistently do it every single day for 90 to 120 days, I guarantee you your life will be completely different. When Katie and I started to do this, I think it was end of 2016 or something like that. But we
did Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
That's such an incredible book.
Yeah. So we did it every single morning and literally went on to have our own franchise and generated $260,000 in 1 year.
Had a healthy baby boy.
Yeah.
Got a ripping car. It was a good time.
It was amazing. So
we should maybe do a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
whoever wants to join us can do a challenge.
Yep.
We could do that starting first.
Yeah, starting the 1st, and then see, in March.
Yeah.
And also when you write down different things and you do like this consistency every single day towards something, it's so incredible to mark things off of your vision board and your list and be like, oh my gosh, we actually did that,
Yeah,
And
100%.
it's- Yeah,
I
it's
love
so
that.
awesome.
Man, I love a good check off the list.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, you do.
I'm like, I'll write something down that I already did so I can check it off the list. You're sick, man.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for me. Okay, what's one small step you can take today to move closer to your vision? I feel like this question's kind of, been on repeat, but I think it's really powerful and simple, because when we stop and we internalize and really think about, like, what can I do today to move closer to my vision, you're gonna get an answer.
Mhm.
You're quiet, you're gonna receive an answer, and you're gonna, oh, that's the step that I need to take. So I'd like to encourage you that if you're not really sure what to do, get quiet with yourself, ask yourself that question, and the answer's gonna come. And it's really cool when that happens, because then you're developing your relationship with yourself, your creator, your higher self,
Yep.
Holy Spirit.
It is
So
so
good.
powerful to do is literally turn off your phone,
Yes.
any distractions, go into a room, a bathroom, wherever, give yourself 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it, 15 minutes with a piece of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and just gather yourself and think about the direction that you want to go. Because I believe, and I was telling Katie this before we started filming this podcast, was we are energy, frequency, and vibration, right? So depending on the thoughts we have is going to depend on the frequency and the vibration that we're at, right? So we can either attract things or repel them away depending on our thoughts, our imaginations. And so it's so powerful when you literally just focus on your imagination for the future and see yourself getting, like Jim Carrey did, $10 million check, or buying a home, or getting that car, or even an opportunity. If you're like, I know I'm about to get a job opportunity. I don't know what it is or what I'll be doing, but I know it's coming. And then you just continue to believe that and think it, you're going to have opportunities come your way. And you're going to be like, this is so wild.
Absolutely. And I think that a really simple and efficient way to think about it is like you're putting in an order at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you're not going to tell the waitress, hey, I want chicken, rice, and broccoli, when actually you're like, dude, I want some tortellini and asparagus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get really specific on what we're asking God or the universe for. Those are interchangeable. That what am I asking for right now? And let it go. I'm not going to like call the waiter over and over and over again to be like, yo, you getting that tortellini and asparagus? You're doing this, you're doing that? No, you're like, I said it, and now I'm done, and now I can trust, I can wait, I can do what's before me with all of my heart, with all of my mind, and all of my spirit, knowing that goodness is coming towards me, and that our thoughts, when we send them out, they're coming back. So when we're experiencing things, it's because our thoughts, we're sending out that energy and that frequency, and then it's coming back to us. So if we can kind of get out of that state of conflict in our mind and really be set in our beliefs, we begin to change our life, and it's a beautiful and powerful thing.
It's amazing how simple the universe is, right?
Yeah.
Like we complicate it, but it's so simple.
100%.
What you put in, you'll get back.
Yeah.
So if you put in kindness, love, joy, guess what you're going to get back? If you put out there jealousy, envy, rage, guess what you're going to get back?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but awesome. Was that it?
That was it.
Sweet.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening in. Podcast number 8. Proud of us, man. That's
Podcast
so
number
good.
8.
And we just, our deepest hope is to bring as much value as possible, to just have a chill conversation filled with love and filled with light that can empower you to become the best possible version of yourself. So we're sending you all our love, wrapping up 2024. What? Will you see you next year?
Yep. See you guys next year.
Yep.
And also, too, if there's anything in particular that you would like us to do a podcast, please let us know in the comments. And also, if you know somebody that would be incredible for us to interview, whether they have a story from rags to riches, or they struggle with drugs and alcohol and they got sober, they built a business, whatever it is, pretty soon we're going to start having guests on our podcast, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, take 15 minutes, write down your goals, and if you do this morning routine every single morning, I promise your life will change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys, go rock out the week. We appreciate you.
Bye.